maybe you also have one of those crazy friends who have been telling you about chemtrails, cloud seeding, weather modification, geoengineering, and how the government is secretly manipulating our weather. Ha! Google, Wikipedia, and all other information authorities tell us that for sure these are just silly conspiracy theories. I mean, come on. How could the government be spraying toxic chemicals into our skies to control the weather? You have got to be a very silly moron to believe such nonsense. Really? Have you ever heard this statement from President John F. Kennedy?
We shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
And did you know what former CIA Director John Brennan has said?
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do.
So, it's not a conspiracy theory after all?
One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI.
But why are Google and Wikipedia and all the other major platforms lying about it? I wonder. Here we see a news channel plainly explaining what solar geoengineering is.
Hi, I'm Femi OK. Today on the stream, could blocking out the sun actually help reduce the temperature down here on Earth? Let me show you what I mean. For instance, you could have material pumped into our stratosphere. That material could reflect the sun's rays or solar energy all the way back to the sun, meaning that we down here are kept cooler. That is a very basic, rudimentary understanding of solar geoengineering.
Another news station did a more in-depth investigation into chemtrails.
Could a strange substance found by a Southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
You know, because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA.
Armed with these lab results about the high levels of barium found in our sample, we decided to contact the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. They told us that yes, these levels are very unusual, but at the same time they added the caveat that proving the source is a whole nother matter.
Barium is a hallmark of other chemtrail testing, which even attracted attention from a Los Angeles TV station. There's already no shortage of unclassified weather modification programs by the government. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?
I'd rather it be something inert and benign, you know, something that's, you know, not causing any damage, but I'd like to know what it is.
KSLA News 12 discovered chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists. Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12 reporting.
And, you know, it turns out until 9 years ago, the government had the right under U.S. law to conduct secret testing on the American public under specific conditions. Only a public outcry repealed part of that law with some exceptions.
Now, Jeff's report mentioned high levels of barium linked to those alleged chemtrails. We wanted to find out exactly what effects barium has on the body. We spoke with Mark Ryan, the director of the Poison Control Center. Ryan tells KSLA News 12 that short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
Anything that causes ill effects in the body long-term, chronically, is going to affect your ability because it's constantly working on the body. So from that aspect, yeah, that's a potential.
An expert on the matter, Rosalind Peterson, explained the severe risks of these programs during a climate conference of the United Nations.
Weather modification programs, experimental ones done by private companies, done by the United States government, done by states across the United States, are underway. There's more than 50 of them in operation across the United States. None of these programs that I know of today, and this is all public record, are available at any time with oversight, agricultural oversight or public oversight. These programs impact agriculture, and there are programs around the world, international corporations are modifying our weather all the time, and they're modifying it in ways that cover thousands and thousands of square miles. Most of it is chemically altered, so that what happens is that we are putting chemicals, ground-based chemicals that are shot into the air, or chemicals coming from airplanes that change and modify our weather. So one of the things that I'm concerned about and that we need to address in the future is how these programs are impacting microclimates needed for our crops to survive and needed for pollination. If we change the growing season, the pollinators may not survive, and also our crops, our flowers, and our tree crops may not get the pollination needed. So one of my areas is looking at this situation to see if we can begin to put under control experimental and other types of weather modification programs. If you take and you put up into our skies chemicals to reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the earth, you are going to begin to reduce crop production. Studies at the University of Illinois on corn crop production show reductions. Without the process of photosynthesis, whereby plants from direct sunlight gain the energy to grow, to produce crops, we are going to find ourselves, if we mitigate in that direction, impacting the crop production not only here in the United States, but worldwide.
So how does this look in real life? Well, here you can see a very clear example of solar geoengineering, which is executed by spraying chemtrails. This is in Colorado, the United States. On this side, the sky is perfectly clear, beautiful blue, with one natural cloud in the distance. It's a lovely sunny day. When we turn around, however, we see something peculiar going on. Dozens of airplanes are simultaneously flying over the same region, spraying enormous amounts of toxic chemicals into the sky. I mean, just look at what's going on here. Do you see how crazy that is? When we zoom in, we can see an airplane busy spraying his toxic load over the entire region. At first it looks like a condensation trail, but this does not evaporate like a normal contrail. On the contrary, it spreads out and forms a vast canopy of chemicals, metal oxides and other substances that cover the sun. After a while, this entire sky will turn completely gray. Gone is the beautiful blue sunny sky that makes people smile. The birds sing, the crops grow and the flowers bloom. After about half an hour we observe how the chemtrails are forming a thick veil of chemicals that block the sunlight. So Google and Wikipedia, the BBC and science platforms and the news agencies that have been saying that this is all just a conspiracy theory have been lying all the time, for years, in fact for decades. Why? What are they trying to hide from us? What is really going on here? On the website stopworldcontrol.com you find a shocking report called Climate Crimes, where you can see several government documents discussing weather modification programs. You will see how these operations have been causing devastating droughts, destructive storms that have destroyed the livelihood of millions of people worldwide and have killed thousands. You will also see in this report how the military are using weather modification for warfare applications and how they are trying everything in their ability to hide this from the public. There are even gag orders from the US government forbidding every employee working in these weather modification programs to talk about it to anybody. Again, why are they hiding this so aggressively from the public? Why do they not want you to know about what's really going on? Make sure to read the full report at stopworldcontrol.com.